Cooking with Marv. I'm Jacob Ellis, and this is pancake maker Marv Ellis. Now today on our show, Chef Marv will be showing us how to make his famous, amazing pancakes. Let's get into it.
All right, well, let's get started. Welcome, everyone. Glad you're here. So, I don't measure too often when I make these pancakes, but first thing I always do is put in some oats. Then I like to use some almond flour, and of course I forget that this is meaning that I'm putting nuts in the pancakes. I can remember one time when I made the pancakes for your basketball team, and one of the young players on your team got sick because he was allergic to nuts, and we couldn't figure out why, and then we realized it was the almond flour. Okay, so for anyone eating these, it has almond flours in it.
And he recovered.
And he did
He
recover.
recovered, yes.
He recovered.
So Jacob, how'd you get so tall? You're so much taller than your dad.
Well, these pancakes are just top notch. So if you're wondering why I got so tall, it's because of these pancakes.
All the goodness in them, huh?
So what'd you
Very
put in there,
nutritious.
Marv? What was that?
So I'm just adding some cinnamon, and actually I just kind of dump it in. I don't measure. I just dump it in. You know, and because I use the same bowl every time, I don't have to measure because I figured out the sizing of it, you know, so how much to put in. So I also put in a little vanilla, which I'm doing right now. And then, you got to put in the mix. I like to use the Kodiak Cakes flour because it's high protein, mostly wheat, very little sugar, but you don't have to. I mean, you could use wheat flour. You could use wheat flour by itself.
Very nutritious.
Anyway, so, and again, here's how I measure. I just kind of dump it in until it reaches a certain point, and then I go, okay, I guess I've done enough. So then, you got to put the chocolate chips in, and I use two different types of chocolate chips. The first type is milk chocolate, and that gets a little bit more young palates here, so it's like a little sweeter. So I put, that's all, 1, 2, 3 of the milk chocolate chips. And then I put in some dark chocolate chips, a little healthier, and it just makes it less sweet. And I put 2 of those.
For your oldies.
Yeah, this is the old, this is more mature crowd that likes a little less of the sugar.
Right.
All right, so now we're all set. Then what I do, gotta get some milk.
Yep.
You can use water, but I like to use milk. Makes the pancakes a little thicker, plus it adds a little more protein. The powder alone is about 14 grams, but when you add in some of the other stuff, the oatmeal and the almond flour, you get a little more protein. And you can also put eggs in, which I've done in the past, but I'm not doing it now because a lot of times we use these as to-go snacks. And if you're putting eggs in them and you're sitting in your car and it gets a little too warm in your car, I just don't feel comfortable having eggs in the mix, even though they've been kind of cooked. I just don't feel comfortable doing that. So if they're going to be snacks, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be snacks and portable, I don't put eggs in. But you know, you're losing some protein by not. And again, I just kind of put the...
Not measuring though.
Yeah, I don't measure. But remember, I'm using the same bowl, the same, you know, pretty much the same scoops for different ingredients, and then I just eyeball the rest. And I suppose if you, I mean, we do this like 4 times a week. So I should be pretty good. I should be pretty good by now.
One.
So now that we've made the batter, we want to come over and get the griddle hot before we start. I turned the griddle on already, and every oven is different, so you kind of have to figure out what the temperature is going to be. But then once you get that griddle and it's warm, just check to make sure it's warm. Just put a little, you can hear it sizzle a little bit. You know, it's good and hot. I just take a spoonful and just put it on the griddle. And of course, they're thick. So these are not your traditional pancakes. These are thick. These are thick. And you can see a couple of end products here that we've got going.
This is how they were supposed to look like after being cooked on that griddle.
Right. That's what it looks like before we eat them.
Exactly. Now, how long do we have to wait for them to finish?
Well, I like to see them bubble a little bit, but sometimes because of the consistency of this, they're so thick, you might not see the bubbling come in. So it's a bit of a timing thing as well. Since I make them so much so often, I kind of know how long it needs to be on based on how I've set the settings on the flame. And this is a gas griddle as opposed to the electric. I had a devil of a time with the electric in the last oven that I was using in Elsa. Oh my goodness. So anyway, this is much better. I can easily control it. And I only try to flip them once. If you flip them multiple times, they get real tough. So I wait till they kind of bubble up. You're not going to see too much, but sometimes you'll see some of the little chocolate morsels will kind of give you an indication that things are getting warm. And then I just flip them one time to kind of keep the moisture in. So let me just, and I can tell, there you go. I can just tell.
Ooh, that one looks good.
Whoops, there we go. There we go. In this case, I would just drop the heat down just a smidge because they're thick and you want to make sure they cook all the way through. But yeah, they're looking like they're going to be pretty darn good. I think you're going to enjoy them, and so will your class.
Thank you.
One.
Well, now we've got to test them to see if they're any good. Ooh. Cook through just perfectly. Go ahead, take a bite.
Perfect. Now these are the pancakes that made me tall.
They're marvelous.
They are marvelous.
Do we have to share them?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for checking in with Cooking with Marv. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.